Hi there, welcome back to another tutorial with Mr. Arsenault. Today we're going to look at the basics in After Effects CC. So let's dive right on in. Okay, as soon as you load your After Effects, you'll be greeted with this screen. Now, on our beginning project, we're going to start with a new project. So we're going to go to New Composition or New Project, depending on which window you get, but I don't have one just yet, so I'll go New Composition. Wait for it to load. There we go. Okay, so now we have composition settings. This is essentially what we need to do to create our composition, our sequence. Just like in Premiere, select this called a composition. So I could call this video tutorial. And here we have presets. We're not going to worry about the presets because these are all different sizes for different videos and different presets. So different sizes that have already been pre-assigned. What we're going to do is we're going to use 960 by 540. Now as long as you select this lock aspect ratio and it goes to 1 to 7 or 1 to 7.6, that's perfectly fine. 1.76. The idea is that we're going to use half of the high definition setting because that's pretty much all we really need. Square pixels are fine. Frame rate. If you're doing footage, you'd want to bring this down to 24 so it looks a little bit more professional. But most cameras these days use 30 frames per second, so 29.97. Or if you're using your cell phone or high definition camera, you might want to bump it up to 60 frames per second. But for the interest of this video, I'll keep it at 30. Resolution's at half. It means it buffers twice the speed. If I put it at full, then we'll be waiting the exact same amount of speed for full resolution all the time. Start time code is always going to start at 0, and the duration of our clip, we can set to 10 seconds for now. That way there's even less to worry about, but I will show you how to do that, or how to adjust these settings in just a moment. The background color. I suggest you put it to something that's fairly visible, fluorescent, anything other than black and white. Because as we add assets to our composition, we don't want to have a color that might blend into another asset's background. Click OK, select OK, and now we can begin. Alright, so here we have our project panel. I'll just select project here. And you can see the composition I created just a moment ago, video tutorial, is here. It looks like this little film strip. But down here we don't have anything. All we have in our view screen is the yellow background. This is the size. Now if I change this from full to half, we still have the exact same size, but when we buffer it, it'll go twice as fast. Okay, so we have our control panel, or our project panel, which also has our effect controls in it. We have our timeline, which has nothing in it. We have video tutorial, that's our composition. And on the right hand side, we have different panels. Now these panels you can change, depends on your workspace. So you can go to window, pop up any other panel you want, and say I want, I don't know, audio. It pops up, I can click on the lines and drag it down to any other panel I want. Drop it, and then it locks it in. Okay? The shortcut for that is workspace. We're going to be working in standard, so it'll give us a standard workspace. Of course, I've just added audio to here, so I can go close panel, and then I have whatever was here previously. Yours might look a little different than mine, and that's perfectly fine. So let's bring something in. To bring something in, we're going to import. So I can go File, there it is, File, Import File. And I'll select something simple. Let's see if I have something simple sitting on my desktop. Let's see. I've got Pikachu, Top Hat. Let's go with Top Hat. Open. Now I have Top Hat here, my project panel. If I look at my resolution, it's 2959 times 26 69. If I bring this down here into my composition, I now have my hat in here. It's perfectly visible, except for maybe the coloring. I apologize for that, that's just my computer. But here I have my magnification. I can drop this down to 50, and now I have 50% of my video. But I still can't see my boundary boxes, so I'm going to go down to 25. Now I can see my boundary boxes. I have 960 by about 540, but my top hat is really, really large. So, the first lesson we're going to learn are the basic parts. Okay? Down here by your label, your source name, okay, the layer we just dropped in, there's a little toggle beside your layer color. I'm going to toggle that down, and I get transform. Under transform, I have my 5 main transformations. I call them parts because it stands for position, anchor point, rotation, scale, and opacity. But the reason I say parts is because the shortcut is T. The other ones, A for anchor point, P for position, S for scale, R for rotation, but T for opacity. So, because I know that T is for opacity, R is for rotation, S is for scale, I will deselect it. I'll just simply hit S. And now my scale pops up. Because I'm not going to be keyframing this, I want to be at one size all the way during my clip, I'm just going to scale this down. Something manageable. Like that. 7%. Deselect, now I have a hat. I have 10 seconds in my composition. And if I wanted less, I could take the end of my clip and drag it back 5 seconds. But say you want to have a blank space at the beginning, you could physically drag your clip over and you would have blank until you hit wherever your layer is. Take my CTI, drag it over, and then as soon as we end our clip, it goes back to nothing. Okay. Drag this back over. Bring my CTI over. I'm going to bring this from 25 to fit up to 100% because I've scaled it down. Now it's at 100%. I'm going to try something really basic now. I'm going to try to move it from one side of the screen to the other side of the screen. To do that, I'll need my position. So I will toggle down transformation, select position, turn my position on. Now it puts a keyframe here automatically. So this is my starting position. Actually, let's go to the very front. Starting position, I will zoom in by pressing the plus key. And notice my keyframe is just a little off. So I'll just click, drag it back, so now it's at the starting position. Press minus to zoom out. So first position, because I have the position selected, I can use my cursor and drag it. That's very easy. So I'll just put it here so you can still see it. I'll move over here, go to the end, and I could just drag it over. That's actually the easiest way. But the other way you could do it is you could take your number pad and scroll and drag. If you know the exact number you want, like if I said 800, that might get it a little further. You could do it that way as well. Now when I scrub back, the computer interpolates from keyframe 1 to keyframe 2 every little motion in between. So when I press spacebar, you'll notice that on the right hand corner, it's playing from RAM, it's saying not real time. Okay? Because this photo is so large, it's trying to interpolate each frame one by one. So basically it's rendering. If I press spacebar and I go from half to a third or even a quarter resolution, what that means is it's going to look even worse, but it should ideally go a little bit faster. Now right now it's not really cooperating. It's only going 0.4 frames a second. So thankfully we only use 5 seconds worth. Now before I proceed, I'm just going to save this file. File, save. Because we have a composition, I need to save the project. So I'll call this tutvid. There we go. Now I'll keep going, press spacebar. Keep going, keep going. Good. Once it's passed, I can press stop, spacebar. Now if I take this key right here, or this bar, this is called the work area. If I drag this back over here, I still have 10 seconds in my composition, but after it's done playing, because it's the end of my composition, it'll stop and we'll go back to the beginning. All right, so we did anchor or position it and we tried scale. Next, let's try rotation. Let's say at the midpoint, I want it to tilt ever so slightly. So go from 0, it's locked in at 0. Let's have it tilt up. Let's go up. And then a little bit later, let's have it tilt back down. By moving the time back down, I'll just bring it down to 0. By moving the time indicator, the CTI, as soon as I change a property or a value, it automatically gives me a keyframe. The other way I could do it is physically move the cursor, add a keyframe, and then move it. But shortcut is to just go from here. So I have it tip, 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 and back to normal. And because it goes from normal, tip to normal, what I can do is, well, firstly I'm gonna adjust this a little back so it looks a bit more straight. I will select these 3 keyframes and I'll go Command C on a Mac, move over a little bit, Command V, and Command V. Now when I play it back, it moves up, it moves down, then it goes back up, and then it goes back down. Okay, so we're animating. Opacity, just like in Adobe Premiere, changes the transparency, the amount of material you can see through. So right now it's at 100%, so you can't see through anything, which is why you see it entirely black. If I turn this on, and I say at this point I want it to be 100, I'll go to the beginning and turn it to 0. So it starts at 0, and then it slowly fades in to 100. Awesome. You guys can see that, right? Good. All right, anchor point I won't really do because we don't really use that all that much. I will toggle this back down. Let's add another asset. I will double click instead of importing. Shortcut. Bring in Pikachu. Open. Bring Pikachu down here. Now I can't see that I have Top Hat and Pikachu. Pikachu is also very big, so I'll go scale, and I will scale Pikachu back down to about yay. Okay. Pikachu's yellow, my background's yellow, so okay, what I will do is I will change my composition settings. I'll go up top to composition, composition settings, and at this point if you wanted to change your time, you could do that. I'm just going to change my background color to something a bit more contrasting, and click OK. Alright, so now I have Pikachu and I have my hat. My hat is still moving, and my Pikachu is not. Okay, so before I go any further, I have these white outlines. To take care of the white outline, I'm going to do what's called a chroma key. So I'll select the layer. Let's go Top Hat first. I'll bring it over to somewhere where it's all white and I can see it very clearly. I'll go Effect, Keying, Linear Color Key. Now there are others that'll take out background colors like the key light, But I'm going to try color key for now because it's just a straight white. Take my eyedropper, select white from the background, and if the computer is able to read it correctly, it will suck out all the white. If it does not, you can always bring up the tolerance until you find that you have a good match. So if I just leave it at 10%, it'll look just like the... You'll find some photos are harder to key than others. And let's do Pikachu now. So I'll go Pikachu, Effects, Keen, Linear Color Key, and I'll select my white. Now because I selected the white, it actually took out the whites from his eyes. Okay? Now there is a way to fix that. What I can do is, I can take a white solid and put it on his eyes, or I could mask out his eyes so that the key doesn't touch his eyes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take another Pikachu. Actually, before I do that, I'll just select this guy and go Command C, Command V. Now I have multiple Pikachus and multiple layers. So I will just change this to a yellow. Pikachu, you'll be pink, and this guy will go orange. Now this one I'm going to change to Pikachu's eyes, so I'll go rename, and I'll call this Pikachu eyes. It's always a good habit to keep your layers straight. So under Pikachu eyes, I'm going to drop down my toggle. Look at that. Now instead of just having transform, I have effects as well. I'm going to find my effects, find my linear color key, I'm going to delete it. So now I have my background as well. Okay? So now what I'm going to do for my Pikachu eyes is I'm going to take my pen tool, I'm going to do a mask around Pikachu's face. And because I masked it here, I'll show you what I did. I'm going to poke Pikachu in the eye. So that's what I created. This is called masking. This will come up in another lesson. Now because they're exactly on the same position, I have my hat moving across, and then I have Pikachu. That'll be it for now. Next lesson we'll look at parenting and masking.